Dr. Heller, thank you for coming in and talking to us. Why don't you tell us your story? Tell us how you were diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, what your journey was, how you learned about Saltikva, and how things are going.
Okay, well, I'm a urologist uh, and was still just working part-time. October or November of 2022, my A1C was going up despite being on one of the GLP-1 agonists. And I asked to get a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. I got that, and I immediately changed my diet because I could see what happened. I would exercise more, and I lost 5 pounds a week for the first month. So that was great, but then I didn't stop losing weight. I just kept losing weight. My wife was concerned. April 20th, 2023, all of a sudden I had zero appetite. I started to wonder whether my urine was orange. I was on vacation at the time. I came home. I called my doctor. I said, I'm scheduled for a yearly exam in a week. Should I come in sooner? They said, come in sooner. I went in to see them. The intern asked me to pull down my eye, and she said, your eyes are yellow. And immediately my thought was, I'm jaundiced. I've lost 60 pounds unintentionally. I've probably got liver metastases from some type of cancer. This is bad. My doctor admitted me to the hospital right away. My bilirubin was over 10. They did a CAT scan. They saw that I had obstruction of the common bile duct due to a 3 centimeter tumor in my pancreas. And the next day they did a ERCP, a endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatogram, and put a stent in my common bile duct and did a biopsy, found that I had pancreatic cancer. And I immediately felt better with the stent in. They referred me to an oncologist and also to a pancreatic surgeon. I went to Mayo, met with a pancreatic surgeon who did a laparoscopy who found peritoneal metastases, put in a port, and met with my oncologist again. And given the fact that there was metastatic disease, I was not a candidate for removing the pancreas. There were 2 chemotherapeutic regimens available to me. The one called FOLFIRINOX, he said I was a little bit older, being 71 at the time, than usual for that, but he thought we should give it a try, and we started on that, and I tolerated it relatively well. When I was first diagnosed, I knew that pancreatic cancer was bad. I did not want to have extensive toxic treatments that might extend my survival by a month or two. I'd seen in my practice a number of people who had been probably too aggressive in their treatments. I wanted to have a good quality of life. My reasoning was that if I could get this drug, that I thought most likely it will extend my symptom-free survival with a good quality of life. I feel very lucky to have been able to get this drug. I think there's an awful lot in life which is a matter of luck, but I think if it's approved, then people won't have to be lucky like I have been to get the drug. They'll be able to get it because it's a standard treatment. And so that's one reason I'm talking. I would like to see the drug to be able to progress to that point. Last week, I had a CT scan of the chest, which was normal. I had an MRI of the abdomen, I believe an MRCP, totally normal. They cannot even find the original tumor. My tumor marker is a CA19-9. Last week was either 8 or 9. Normal was less than 35. It was over 200 when I was diagnosed. I had never heard of CA19-9, even though I was a doctor before I got this. But my CA19-9 came down, it stayed down. My scans remained normal. When I first got diagnosed, my doctor, I have a long history of high blood pressure. I was on 5 medicines at one time. He said, our aim for now is to keep your blood pressure under 180. You don't need to have tight control. And then after I started to do so well, he said, we need to get your blood pressure down further. We need to get better control because we don't want you to die of a stroke because it looks like you may live long enough that could be a problem.
Tell me about your life. I understand you have a grandson.
We have one grandson. He was born in October. I feel very lucky to have been alive long enough to see my grandson. 2-3 decades ago, that wouldn't have happened. I'm not somebody who wants to go through toxic treatments. Right after I was diagnosed, I met with the palliative care people to go over what to do if and when, but fortunately I haven't had to see them for the last 2 years. I think a good quality of life for a long time is good.
What are your plans for the immediate future? Are you going on any vacations?
April 4th, we're going to Arizona. My wife has a needlepoint class, so I'll get chemotherapy on March 31st, get my DXS 2 days later, get my Saltikva, and then 2 days after that, going to Arizona. And going to San Diego to visit my brother in July, going to Arizona again in October. We're going to Michigan to visit family in April. My wife's family reunion is going to be in July in Michigan. I do everything I want to do. I mean, I do yard work. I walk 2 or 3 miles, maybe 5 days a week. I'm doing everything I was doing before I got sick.
If you had a message to give to someone who is in regulatory affairs at the FDA and or a potential partner to Salspera, which makes Saltikva, what would you say?
I would say that I was familiar with interleukin-2 dating back to the 1990s when it came on the market for treatment of metastatic kidney cancer. Before that, there was no treatment, and it was extremely toxic. It was given intravenously. So I was very interested when I saw that this drug could deliver, or this Saltikva could deliver very high doses of this medication to the cancer cells without giving systemic levels. So I was excited about that. I think that most likely the drug is going to be proven to be effective and will become a standard part of the treatment for metastatic pancreatic cancer, perhaps for other things. And I think it's a very low risk drug. I think it'll be beneficial to society, to the oncology community. It'll be beneficial to the company to be able to get it produced, but most important is to be good for America and the world.